Hey, Podcast Land. Thank you for joining me for the fourth episode of my previous holiday episodes that I wanted to revisit leading up to Christmas this year. This episode, I interviewed Kristin Hannon, and she picked Little Drummer Boy mixed with Peace on Earth. And this is really a beautiful song. If you have not heard it, check it out on the playlists. But she shared when she hears this song how it makes her think of her cookie baking tradition she used to have with her grandmother, her aunt, and her older cousin, Laura, who she looked up to so much. And over time, the tradition changed, and, now Grandma and Auntie have passed away, and Laura and Kristin have their own families and have started their own traditions. And that's so important that we all evolve as we get older. We lots of times do want things to stay the same, and the sad truth is they just don't. So if you find yourself, longing for a tradition of the past that just doesn't happen anymore, I want to challenge you to focus on the people that are in front of you and what new traditions can you make, or how can you make the holiday special for yourself now, because those traditions have changed. And, I'm talking to myself right now, you guys, because my son just moved to Tennessee and it's difficult. And my other son goes to college and he doesn't always have the availability to come home. I always thought my kids were going to come home for like a week at a time. And that's just not the way it's going to be. So I need to set new expectations and new traditions and just be really thankful for the blessings of the people that are in front of me, that I get to make memories with and laugh with and all that good stuff. So as you listen to this episode, I just want to challenge you. What traditions are you holding on to that make you sad that don't happen anymore, and how you can make new ones? As you listen to Kristin talk about baking cookies when she hears the song Little Drummer Boy with Peace on Earth.
I have a question. What is your favorite song, and how do you connect with it? Is it when you fell in love or through something really difficult? I'm your host, Tiffany Mason. Now join me as I interview others and we take a walk down memory lane with them. Let's get lost in why that music matters to them. Turn up your radio and let's explore Memories with a Beat.
Hello, Podcast Land. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Memories with a Beat. ... Holiday edition. So today I have with me Kristin Hannon, and Kristin and I are friends from my Minnesota days. I haven't lived in Minnesota for almost 6 years now. That blows my mind. Yeah, time in Florida has
It's been
flown.
6 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
well, 5.5. But yeah.
Yeah. Holy buckets.
I think it's funny that I think Facebook makes us, of course, it helps us stay connected, but that's also what makes it feel like not so much time has gone by, because you're
right.
tabs on everybody and you know what they're doing, and it's kind of like you're still in their life,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I know. I can't. Well, I was just thinking of it. I was like, gosh, how long have you been down there? But it's been so fun to see you and your family enjoy your time down there. And it makes me only a teeny bit jealous that I lived here still, because it's cold and my hands are chapped already. We just cleaned out our hat and scarf and mitten bin to make sure we had all the matches and everything. And take out all the kids' old coats and figure out, do they still fit? Do they not fit?
Well, it's funny too, down here, the families will take vacations to see their family, somewhere where it's cold, or they'll go on a vacation or whatever. And everybody's just like, does anybody have size 2 toddler snow boots? Does anybody have gloves we can borrow for the weekend? Does somebody have a ski mask we can borrow for the weekend? We don't want to go out and buy this stuff because we don't need it, for
right. Why spend that money?
Year?
Right. Why spend that money on stuff you don't need all the time?
Right. Well, Kristin, do you want to tell my audience a little bit more about yourself? So we've established you're in Minnesota. What do you do? What's your family like? Maybe, I don't know, whatever you think we would find interesting.
Yeah, I'm born and raised. I've lived in central Minnesota my whole life. I just turned 40 this year, and it's been good. I have a wonderful husband. His name is John. We've been married. We're going on 14 years. I don't know why I'm questioning that, but I think 14 years we've been married. We have, and again, we live in St. Cloud. He gives me a hard time because I'm from Sauk Rapids, and anybody from the area, right? Rivalry. And he calls me River Jumper because I jumped the river and moved to St. Cloud. It's a Stearns County thing.
Yeah. Yep. It is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The good side. Right.
Yeah.
And so, right. We have a 16-year-old son, Andrew. And yeah, Andrew's 16.
Isn't it funny when you move away? Like, I don't know if
Right.
you think my kids are still the same age, but I think like I
No,
feel like other people's kids are the same age,
same age, right? As
right?
when you
We're like
left. Like,
frozen in
yeah.
time.
Isn't your daughter still like 2? Like, right? 3?
Similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, we've got Andrew who's 16. He got his driver's license this year, so we're navigating
Mhm.
that. And I always use the word fun with my kids. They're
Yeah.
fun. And
Mm-hmm.
are they fun in a good way, or are they fun in like my hair is turning gray and I've stopped dyeing it because I'd be spending thousands of dollars a year on my gray hair right now. So we're just gonna hold off on that for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we have a 12-year-old daughter. Her name is Annabelle, and she is
Fun.
fun. She's just
Fun.
like me. I'm raising myself,
Mm.
and the sarcasm and the eye rolling and my mother calls it my payback. And so and it is. And
Parents
she's
love it.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
And she is wonderful. They're actually both a joy. They're funny and smart. And so, yeah. And then we have a 9-year-old black lab. Her name is Lucy. And as my kids will say, she is my favorite child.
Oh,
Um,
I was just gonna give you a hard time about that. Did you see my post about my kids
yeah,
asking me about
yeah,
favorites? And they're like, come on, you have to have a favorite.
yeah,
So
I
word is
do.
out, guys. Lucy's her favorite.
Lucy is my favorite. She greets me when I come home at night. She still sits in my lap, even though she's an 80-pound black lab. She loves to snuggle and cuddle. She does not give me any sass.
No eye rolls, no sarcasm.
No eye rolls, no sarcasm. Yeah, teenagers are they're fun.
Fun. They're fun.
Yeah. So
My mom
yeah,
says little F, little U, little N. Fun.
yeah, yes, exactly. And so, but yeah, and I work at Midwest Bank up here in St. Cloud. I've been here for 15 years. I am the retail branch manager, and I work with so I manage our retail department, and I work with our lenders on business accounts and cash management services and all that fun stuff. So it keeps me busy. I enjoy it. Yeah.
It sounds fun.
Yeah, it's for people who are not in banking, they're like, is that really though? And I'm like, to me it is.
Hmm.
But I would say the same thing about like other things. Like when you
Right.
were up here working at Texas Roadhouse, to me, absolutely not. Like
Yeah.
I no, not
Yeah.
in a million years, right?
Yep.
But for you enjoyed it, and that was right. And
And
no,
thank God, Sean and I used to talk about people who would apply and they were just really hoping and praying, crossing their fingers they could be a dishwasher. And we were
no,
like, ugh, what makes them want to be a dishwasher? But same thing. Thank God there's a garbage man, and thank God there's,
right,
the sewer
right.
person, and thank God there's the people that want to work on the roads, especially down here in the heat.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yep.
different strokes for different folks, and thank God for us all.
Yes, absolutely. So I know I never expected to get into banking. That was not my jive. That was not on my radar. And here I am. I've been in banking for 17 years now. And I guess it's my career. Like I think
Yeah.
that's an adult thing. Like
Yeah.
adults have careers.
Mhm.
So most days I'm like, I'm not quite there yet. I don't think I'm an adult. But I think I
Thank
am.
God, because I feel the same way.
Right? Like when did I become who put me in charge?
I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't either. Like who put me in charge? And were they paying attention the last 40 years? Because I don't think I'm not there. Like
I'm not equipped.
I'm not equipped. Yeah, no.
Well, I still hate being called a woman because
Oh,
I just don't think that I am mature enough
yeah.
or seasoned enough or,
Right.
whatever. I don't qualify as a woman.
No.
Okay. I'm still a girl.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and then my kids' friends come over, they call me Mrs. Hannon. And I'm like, oh, honey, no, 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 no. Don't call me Mrs. I'm not, no.
No, I'm
I,
Miss Tiffany to everybody.
yeah, like Miss Kristin or just Kristin. Like,
Mhm.
I am not my mother-in-law. And
Nothing formal, and don't give me any ounce of grown-upness or adultness to the title.
right, because I'm not there yet. Yes.
Well,
I brought you on today so we could talk about some memories maybe that you have of a holiday song. And I did not realize that this was by two men, and I
Mhm.
did not. I just have a little funny to put out there that these guys might have been like trend setting, right? Like they have
Oh,
maybe one of the first mashups, right?
right. Yes. That's what we
Okay.
call it, mashups these days, or that's what the kids are calling it, right?
That's what the kids are calling it. Right. Right. So, Kristin, if you would share with my audience what song you picked, and then feel free to just go into, where it takes you or those memories that you have.
So when you posted and you asked for people for their favorite songs, my favorite one every year is the Little Drummer Boy, Peace on Earth song by Bing Crosby and David Bowie.
Yeah.
And one, I love the crooners of the old age and so like Bing Crosby and oh, Sammy Davis Jr., stuff like that. Like I
Okay.
love the early that era of music. And so listening to that, and then you get David Bowie in the mix. And I mean, I
A
grew up in
different
the
feel.
80s.
Right.
Totally different feel.
Mhm.
I grew up with David Bowie a little bit, and the differentness of his music, I should say. Um, and so when you put the first mashup like that together, and I just love it. To me, is brings back my memories from my childhood. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's all the good feels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the good
Absolutely.
feels.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
know that you said when I posted it, like you were like, lightning, like it didn't
Yeah.
take you any time,
No.
like
Yep.
right to your brain.
Favorite song. That's it.
Yep. Yep.
That's
No
my favorite
problem.
holiday
Easy
song.
peasy.
Yep.
So I know that you said that it was baking at your aunt's house. So
Mhm.
how did that normally go down? Did she like, hey, was it a formal invite or was it more of like a family
Oh,
get together? Or did it just happen sporadically? I
it
mean,
just every
spontaneously?
year. So I have to preface this a little bit.
Hmm.
I grew up in a house. My mom was a working mom, and she does not bake
Okay.
at all. Like
Eh,
if she bakes, it's not probably good. She will not be listening to this. Okay.
okay.
um,
Otherwise, it
and
may be a truth she already knows.
she might be, and she cooks, but she's also not a really good cook either.
Okay.
Okay. Like it's edible. But it's the same 5 recipes we grew up as kids and still to this day. Okay.
Mm,
Um, yeah.
that's fun.
And yeah, right. I know. And so, but my aunt, her sister, so it was, and this is how the memories came to be, right? So like my aunt was divorced before I was born,
Okay.
and she has a daughter, my cousin Laura, and they moved in with my grandma. And so I grew up with my grandma, who's my mom's mom, my aunt, her sister, and my cousin Laura. The three of them lived together while I was growing up.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and so, you talk about like blended families and how people grow up, right? Like for back in the day, they got divorced before divorce was cool and not
Mm,
well, not
mhm.
cool, but like it wasn't a good time.
Acceptable.
It was
Yep.
acceptable, right?
Yep.
And so, and my cousin grew up without her dad, and it just was not it was a messy situation.
Mm.
But every year, and I would go over to my grandma's on occasion, we'd hang out, we spent every weekend together with them. Not necessarily my cousin, because she's 10 years older than me.
Okay.
What teenage girl wants to hang out with her little
Not
cousin?
even.
Not even, yeah.
And
And so, I mean, she did every once in a while, but, and,
did you think that she was like the coolest?
oh, absolutely. Like,
Everything Laura did, you wanted to do it too?
yes, absolutely. And when she was into like Sinead O'Connor and
Mm,
right. So one of the first movies I remember watching and I watched with her was Labyrinth, okay, with David
ooh,
Bowie,
David
right?
Bowie.
Yep. So right. And to this day, Labyrinth is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Duh, because
Um,
Laura loved it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so every year though, once I was old enough to actually help and be a part of it, right, I'd go over and help bake cookies. So, and for Christmas, we'd plan a weekend. Saturday we would bake and cut
Okay.
out the cookies, and then Sunday I'd go over and we'd decorate the cookies because
Okay.
we were like, I mean, it was an all-day process to decorate these cookies.
Cookie
Like
machine.
yes. And so, and they're just a sugar cookie recipe and it's just frosting. And right, but this was my time. So we'd turn on Christmas music and we would bake cookies and I'd help my grandma like decorate the tree. So, so it was this big deal for me because my mom didn't like baking. And to this day, I'll be quite honest, I don't really like to bake. I love to bake. I do love to bake. I don't like cleaning up. I hate the cleaning up. Like
Me too.
if I could bake and have somebody else clean up after me, it would be wonderful. But when I bake or I cook, I use every freaking dish like in my kitchen and I make a giant mess. And then I've got like 2 hours of dishes, even with a dishwasher. Like it's a giant mess. And so I would go over there and we decorate. And as I got older, it was my aunt, my grandma, and my cousin and I decorating and all that fun stuff. And then I'd get older and my cousin got older and she didn't join us. She'd be hang out for a little while, but she had to work or she was going to hang out with friends or whatever. But as I got older, I missed maybe a year or two and I missed out on that. But when you hit that age of like college age, you have to work. You have to work the weekends you need to, right? Like, and I was working and
and you don't realize that time is fleeting.
right.
And so you don't value that you might not be able to do this every single
right.
year, in the future.
Right.
And I think that there's a stage of life where you're very selfish.
Yes.
And so you had to work because you had bills to pay and you were so important that you had to be at your job. So like, I think you just go through that. I think it's a normal phase.
It's a normal growing. Yes. It's a normal growing up phase.
And that's what Laura went through when she couldn't join you.
Absolutely.
For her cookie time. So
yes, absolutely. So, there was all that. And then, my aunt got older. My grandma passed away when I was, 10th grade. My grandma had passed away when I was in 10th grade. And that was really hard. My aunt took it really hard, obviously, because, it was her mom. And so, but she still lived there. So I still went over, we did cookies. It was a hard year. I remember that.
Do you feel like it was cathartic for you guys to do that though?
Yes, it was. It was. And that's part of the reason why I made sure I kept helping. My aunt was, we talk about mental health, right? Like mental health is a big thing. And, my aunt was, she went through depression. She went through depressive episodes. She went, right. And not necessarily, I don't know, like, I think back on it now, like 10th grade, like how did she handle it? Like, but I don't know because I was 15.
Wasn't on your radar.
No, it was not on my radar at 15, right?
Yep.
And so you're a selfish teenager. We talk about teenagers being fun. I was totally one of those fun teenagers.
Yeah.
Right. And so and that was really hard, but we kept it up and we did it. And that year was really hard. And we did it and we did it again the next year. And we just kept doing it. Right. And at this time, my cousin, obviously 10 years older, she's 25. She and her husband they had moved around a lot. They'd met in college and, they lived in St. Cloud here. And then they moved to Michigan for a while over the years. And they've lived in Texas, they've lived in Aruba, and now they live in Texas again.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was super cool. His job takes him different places. And so so I wanted to keep that up because my cousin wasn't there. My grandma wasn't there. My cousin wasn't there. It was my mom and I. And so I tried to keep it up. It was cathartic. And we cried every year. We'd make jokes about, grandma and, because she was crazy lady. And so all this fun stuff, we just did it every year. And we would bake these sugar cookies and we'd decorate them. And as she got older, there was, the mental health thing and health issues and stuff. And my son was born one year and I just couldn't, I was going through my own stuff. Right. And she did it on her own and I felt really bad. And, when I got married and then we had our house, she stopped driving. So I went over and picked her up. I was like, let's come over. She was getting older. And so I'm really glad I made her in the last, because she actually died. She passed away 5 years ago now. And oh geez, I might cry.
Okay.
I don't want to cry. And so we made sure though those last couple of years that she came to my house and I picked her up. We'd bake cookies together. She would help me with my with the dough because I could never get my dough right. Roll it out and stuff.
It's
and
probably from that passion of baking that you have.
Yeah, right. I know, right. And so she'd help me with the dough but I made her and she did. And and she always said those were the best things. And so
Mhm.
I have to laugh because she passed away unexpectedly,
Mm.
but she had written everything down for my cousin, and she did have like a will of some sort, like even though it really wasn't like a will because she didn't have much,
Sure.
but in that she had Kristin gets all of my baking supplies, all of my baking things. And it's funny because like I'd always wanted a KitchenAid stand mixer.
Oh,
Okay. Like
yes.
but it's just they're so expensive.
Yeah,
And I
they are.
don't and I don't bake. And I
Mhm.
don't, right? Like
God, it looks good on a counter, doesn't
I
it?
know, right?
Oh,
It does. It's so right.
it
And
gives the
she
illusion that you bake.
Right. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. It gives us the illusion that I bake and I do things. And before she had actually died, she did give me her KitchenAid stand
Oh,
mixer
yes.
because, right, she's like, you are now carrying on the tradition. You are baking. You are right. So I had it. But when my cousin came up from Texas when she was passing away and she was sick and she was up here and um we were going through her things, and on a note was Kristin gets all my baking supplies.
Oh, that had to have
And I
melted
just
your heart though. It made you feel
I
so good for all the times that you didn't want to go and you went,
right.
all the times
Yes.
that you put up with all the craziness that
Yeah.
had to have paid for all that.
The crazy. My cousin and I would say, back in the day, we were not close.
Mhm.
We tolerated each other. We didn't know how to bond over that age difference and right. And so now it boils down to my cousin is probably one is my best friend,
Mhm.
besides my husband. And we are super close now. And we text all the time, just random, right? And she comes up here once a year. And so we visit all the time, and to have that. And now we talk about the crazy because we come from a long line of crazy. And so it's that song though reminds me of all that. And baking with my aunt and all that fun stuff and my cousin and how like the bond over David Bowie is still there and still exists. And
Did you guys think he was a little snack, a little eye candy?
oh, absolutely, still is. I miss him.
What about
Absolutely.
Bing? You leave Bing out
Um,
of the mix?
oh yeah, well, there's Bing. Yeah, I mean, old guy. I just yeah. So
Merry Christmas, Podcast Land. Have you finished your list for Santa yet? Well, there's one more thing you might want to add. It's the Fifine USB condenser podcast microphone, and it's actually very affordable. So if you want great sound but you don't want to break the bank, I would recommend the Fifine USB condenser podcast microphone. It makes me sound great on all these fabulous podcast episodes, and it'll have you rocking around the tree on Christmas morning. Feliz Navidad! And on the flip side, it's a great microphone for anybody who may be thinking about starting a podcast. So if someone on your list has visions of sugar plums, starting a podcast, because baby, it's cold outside, dancing in their head, this is the microphone that could have them realize the dream of having a podcast. You got it. The shopping link is in the show notes. So let us know, let us know, let us know. Okay, enough with the holiday talk. Let's get back to the show.
It was quite the mashup, though. I really did not realize it was by two different guys.
yes,
And interesting that the age difference. And I like that you're bringing up the point about the different style, right? Like Bing was probably
yes,
more traditional. And then
yep,
Bowie brings in like his flair of everything that he's
right,
got going on,
yes,
So it
yeah,
definitely brought a little something different to the song. And like
it
I said, they
did.
were trendsetters before their time.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely it was. It was always fun because like I said, the crooner era and then the old style of that. So that's just it makes me like you can see me. Like I know you can and like just like I am
The joy.
like
Yeah.
I'm a joy. Like it's just peaceful and I just love Christmas and I love Christmas music and
Me
so
too.
just I do. I love it. And like if you check out my Facebook, I just posted pictures of my house.
Yes, I know.
Um
I saw it.
and it
I
looks like
actually thought of it today because I was looking around my house We got a couple poinsettias. We already hung our stockings. And I was like, I feel like this is more Christmassy than normal. It's our same decorations. I've bought nothing new. But it was like, this is so Christmassy. And then I was like, ooh, it's like Kristin's house. Because I did see all of the decorations that you had put up. And so
it looks
yeah.
like Santa threw up. Like literally Santa threw up in my house.
And when she says Santa,
it.
she means actually like the Santa heads. Like
yes.
Santa is everywhere.
Santa is everywhere. I love Santa. I absolutely love Santas.
Jolly old Saint Nick.
Yes, jolly old Saint Nick. And I love Santas. And I have my kids call him the Santa dwarf because I have a 3-foot tall Santa in my basement. And it greets you when you go downstairs into our family room. And he's beautiful and he's gorgeous. And that's my thing is like these Santas are just so beautiful and gorgeous and they are so well done. And my kids are like, oh, they're so creepy, Mom. Like, we're not in a creepy horror movie. And I'm like, no, we're not. They're Santas. Santa's all about like joy and bringing happiness and, being kind to others and like thinking of other people that are not yourself. My kids are like, no, he's creepy.
Now, do you appreciate like jolly old Saint Nick, like the happy fat guy with the cherry red cheeks? Or do you appreciate like Kris Kringle with like the ornamental head crown thingy with the robes and the long beard? Oh, both. Okay.
Both.
Don't
Yeah, I can go either way. I really can because really, you think of the jolly old fat man and just the happy and right. And then you think of the more like traditional old world style Santa, like I said, Kris Kringle, and both of them have their values and both of them are just, they have their representations. So sometimes I like the stoic look of Santa. But sometimes you just got to have the jolly old fat man. So
I agree. Yeah. I can't argue with you.
Yeah.
Yep. No debate to be had there.
Right.
Well, I'm wondering, do you guys still get together for cookies when she comes up once a year? Is this tradition carried out? Does your daughter partake or did it kind of die with your aunt?
Nope. So she actually just texted me this morning. She sent me, her and her husband now live in Houston. And so she actually started her baking today. So she now bakes. So the tradition was we baked we made 2 batches of cookies. So
I was going to ask. Okay.
6 dozen. Okay.
Yeah.
So about, 2 batches makes a lot. She now bakes like 3 batches of cookies because she gives them away alone. She makes 3 batches alone, down in Houston, and she gives them away to like the neighbors and friends. And she gives it away to their UPS guy and their FedEx guy and their mail carrier and their garbage person and all these people she does care packages for because she's super appreciative of them. And I do too. I always just pick a random weekend because who knows what life's going to throw at me. Right.
Yeah.
And we get it done in one day now because time is of the essence. And so it'll probably be next weekend now that I think about it is when we bake. So we will bake and we'll put them together and we still do it. And one of the things that actually we did, and we did this together, is we made stockings. It looks like a boot, but it's a stocking cutout. And everybody gets their own stocking with their name on it. So we pipe a name on it. Yeah. And so we still carry on that tradition. I still make the stockings. I still pipe everybody's name on there. Everybody gets a cookie with their name on it. And I still include my cousin in on it, even though she's not coming up for Christmas or not, and her husband. So like this year they're not coming up because, family has gotten smaller.
It happens.
And so it's harder for them to leave. And so I send pictures like I do Laura and Ivan and I send them a picture. I made you a cookie, but I'm going to eat it. And so, but we do, my kids help bake cookies now. My son's girlfriend is going to come over. He's got a new girlfriend this year. And so she's going to come over and help us. And it's fun every year and I love it. And every year I'm like, oh, we make so many cookies and it's so much work. And every year I'm like, I'm so glad we did that.
Yeah. I could see that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you blare your David Bowie, Bing Crosby.
I do. Absolutely.
You're just rocking around the kitchen, making your cookies.
I do. Yep.
Interesting. I feel like at one point you were going to say that you have the recipe.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think that you should send me a picture and we could post it unless it's a family secret.
It's not a family secret. Absolutely not. It's seriously a sugar cookie recipe. The only difference is for the frosting when you make it, because we do the homemade frosting, is it's powdered sugar, milk, and we use almond extract instead of vanilla extract.
Do
And
you
that's
make Spritz cookies?
I do not.
Oh,
I do
was going to
not.
say that's the secret with Spritz cookies too.
Yeah, is
Almond.
using almond. Yeah. I do not make Spritz cookies. They're not my favorite, so I don't.
Okay. Well, that would probably answer my next question, because I was going to say, do you make like the thick, fluffy sugar cookies?
No.
Or are they thin and like kind of crunchy?
They're thin and kind of crunchy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they are thin and kind of crunchy. And they are literally the only sugar cookie I will eat. I am not like, you go to like grocery stores and they make like the fluffy sugar cookie with like the inch of frosting on them.
Yeah,
and
like the Loft House ones.
Yuck. Ugh. I think those are absolutely disgusting.
I will take a sugar cookie any way you give it to me. Really, I really don't like the sugar sprinkles though. No.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah. And I'm very much a minimalist when I decorate my cookies. It's frosting only, whereas my kids will decorate the cookies, and like I get out all the sprinkles and like all the stuff for them, right? Like they can decorate how they see fit at this point. But like my boots are red and white. They look like stockings, and there's a name on it. That's it. And don't mess with my boots. Nobody else decorates the boots, because that's me. And then it was such an honor when my aunt passed that off to me, when I could type the names, and like it was a big deal. Like, had there been social media at that time, like that would have been my Facebook post that day.
Heck yeah.
Like
I
that
got
was a
to
big
be the
deal.
piper.
Right. I got to pipe names on the stockings this year. I remember that being a thing. My aunt was like, I don't know. And I was like, I can do it. I swear. I promise. Like, and she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, I can. We all have our, like, I talk about the crazy, that was the crazy coming out, like the OCD of it. Like, I don't know. Can you do it right?
It wasn't, I thought you meant she was like, kind of like, giving you a hard time, but no, she meant it.
No, she meant it.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, she totally meant it.
Okay. Well, had some big shoes to fill, I guess.
Yeah, right. They were.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Well, is there anything else more that you want to add about this song? No. Okay.
No. Yeah, those are my memories. They're wonderful and they're cherished. And I hope everyone else has memories like that they think of, and they will always remember that. You know what I mean? Like, those warm fuzzies where you just like, you smile, maybe tear up a little bit, and you just continue that tradition anyways, even though they might be hard at times.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great way to wrap up. And I liked it so much, I put it on my Christmas playlist. So if you guys have your own Christmas playlist, put it on there. But it will also be on the Memories with a Beat, the playlist. And so if you guys haven't heard the song, or if you need your memory refreshed, it'll be there. I hope you guys enjoy it. I wish everybody happy holidays, really Merry Christmas. And Kristin, as you would say, this has been fun. And everyone else, I hope you thought the episode was fun as well as music to your ears. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? You never know what rabbit holes we'll get to go down and explore. Were you reminded of anything or anyone? Share what it was with me in a review. Honestly, the reviews don't do me any favors other than knowing people like you are listening to this podcast. Insert cheesy wink. However, the ratings do help, so leave me 5 stars. You know you wanna. This podcast was produced by Virtual You, supporting you in all things podcasting. To connect or check me out on social media, I know you're just gonna stalk me. But see the show notes, as always, for details. Can't wait to dive into my next guest's Memories with a Beat. Hit subscribe now. You don't want to miss the next episode.